Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of My Car Shop. Today we're going to be doing a very special edition talking about exactly what it takes to complete these projects. Don't want to miss this one.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Cars Shop.
Well, interesting topic today. Kind of came out of our last session that we had when we talked about the cost of a project, the episode on $75,000 to restore the Challenger. And just had some interesting feedback, both in in-person conversations and also in Messenger about that, and thought it would be worth today just talking a little bit about how to do projects of this magnitude. So we're not talking about cost today, but the actual doing of it. As I mentioned in the last episode, I had a little bit of situation, and I'm still not completely mobile yet, so I'm not able to work in the shop for a bit, and I've actually been quite busy. I'm actually on my way to a meeting today for my main business, and just thought I'd take just a few minutes and talk about this. So how do we tackle a project the magnitude of the Challenger or that 70 Duster that we've looked at, or even John's 66 Belvedere? Well, it goes back to the old adage of how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. When you dig into a project like this, it's easy to tear the car apart. There was a Facebook discussion about that, how so many guys get these cars all tore apart and never do anything with them because of money. But there's also, I find that I've actually purchased many projects like this over the years where somebody tears a car apart and it's overwhelming. I mean, if you've ever disassembled a car completely from top to bottom, every nut and bolt taken out of it, you have a huge amount of parts. Sorry about that. I'm not sure where I was. I got interrupted with a phone call there. So anyway, back to it. Doing these projects is like eating an elephant one bite at a time, right? I've purchased so many projects where guys got into these things, and it wasn't even the money. It was just the sheer magnitude of having a car completely disassembled and then not even knowing where to begin. So really, it's important to have that discussion and have the mindset of what it takes to accomplish a project like these cars that we're mentioning. And it really is that one bite at a time mentality. So right now in my car shop, I have in various states of disassembly. I'm not even sure how many cars. The Charger's not completely together yet. The 47 is still apart. The Oakland is apart. The Challenger is apart. The 74 Swinger is apart. Now, none of these cars are completely gutted. The Challenger is going to be very soon. That's going to be coming very soon, where I'm going to spend a day or two and just strip that car down to nothing, so there's nothing left in it. Not a bolt, nothing. But, so it's a lot of parts, and it's overwhelming. And the thing I've learned in doing, both for myself and for customers, upwards of 100 cars in various states, whether it's a complete strip down like that, or a partial, or a paint job, or an engine, or whatever, is you have to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So you have to start somewhere. Start with something small. Don't tackle too much. I actually did that with the Challenger. The first thing I did on the Challenger when I got it home was start banging the roof back out. Partly because I wanted to know how much work I was going to have to do if I could salvage the roof, which I can. I didn't want to replace the roof, and if I was going to have to replace the roof on that car, then I was going to really question whether or not I wanted to tackle that project, not because that the project wasn't doable or that the project was intimidating to me, but rather because at that point I'm starting to get some really serious costs into it, and I didn't know if I wanted to put that kind of money into that car. And time. The time doesn't bother me as much, but time is still money. So, but at that point, I might have been thinking about looking for a different Challenger and salvaging what I could from that one. So start with something that's manageable. Start with something that's going to encourage you. Start with something that's going to make you feel like you're making good progress, because you're going to get discouraged and you're going to feel like giving up and you're going to wonder, what was I thinking in tackling this? They do get overwhelming, and that's just part of it. You have to learn to work through that. When I did the Pro Street 68 GTS, I actually gave up on that project back in the 90s, and I put that car up for sale. It was tubbed, it wasn't done, it didn't run. The sheet metal work wasn't finished on it. The body wasn't even started on it. And I was just overwhelmed just from the sheer time that I spent tubbing that car and putting the rear end back together on it. Fortunately, I only had one person interested, and they declined. It was more project than they wanted. And you see what the car is today. So I got back to it once I got encouraged. And that's another piece in this, is sometimes you just have to set them aside, let them be for a while, and then come back to it when you're enthusiastic about it again. My 47 Ford kind of was that way. I've had that car now for 9 years, I believe. Set for a year, tore into it, got a lot done, got the chassis done, got the body done, got part of it painted, and just got burned out. Then life happened, and we lost our home, and just all kinds of things happened, and so the car was floating around for a long time, and I didn't really have a place to work on it, or I was doing customer work and didn't have time. But now, thanks to the pandemic, it's been one upside. I really got motivated to get back at that car, and I've made huge progress, and it's not far from being done now. Another 100 hours or so, and that car can be on the road, and I'm looking forward to that. So you have to break them down into little bite-sized pieces. Pick a spot, work on that little spot. Pick one little thing, do that. Pick a piece of the car, take a fender, take a door. Take the instrument cluster in the house and work on it like a model, getting it cleaned up and while you're watching TV at night. Or there's all kinds of things you can find to do that are going to encourage you. I remember doing that on the 47 Ford. I took the instrument, the gauges out of it, and I worked on them. I think I was actually watching movies or something on TV, and I just carefully tore them apart on a table, cleaned them all up and polished everything, put them all back together. And it was just such an encouragement to have that sparkly instrument cluster to look at. Buy some parts, buy some cheap things if you don't have a lot of money. Buy some little things that will encourage you. Try to accomplish one little thing every week if you can on your project. Little bites are important. If you think about your car, really think about this. If you break it down into 1-inch squares, once that 1-inch square is done, if you're doing body work or repair or whatever, that's done and you never have to touch it again, right? Now, I know doing a paint job, it's not that simple, but that's the mentality. Get that quarter panel done. Get that quarter panel hung. Get that quarter panel finished. Get the next quarter panel hung. Get the next quarter panel finished. Yeah, you may have a whole weekend into it or a couple of weeks, but when it's done and you don't have to go back and do it again. And I think that's the key. You want to see progress happening. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see progress. Do some little thing. Sometimes for me, working on a project means watching some shows on YouTube, just like this, just to encourage me and get the juices flowing again. I tend to be alone a lot, and I don't have people to work with. That's why I enjoyed having my son home for that month this summer, because we were able to work on stuff together, and it was motivating. Get some friends to come on over, get some adult snacks or whatever it is that you like, and work on stuff together. Camaraderie helps projects happen. Yeah, you may spend half your time standing around bench racing, but that's still part of it. It keeps those creative juices flowing. It keeps that moving forward for you. At the end of the day, we love cars, right? But we also love everything that goes with cars. So it's not just about the cars, but it's about the community that goes with cars. Car people are the greatest people on the planet as far as I'm concerned. Most car people would do anything for you if they could. They'd give you the shirt off their back. They'd do anything to help you. They're good people, some of the best people on the planet. And that's part of this, is the community, the sense of community. I think we've all struggled with that a little bit during this time. With the pandemic and everything that's been going on, and at least in the rural areas here, we've kind of been over it for quite a while. We've kind of gone back to living our lives, but I know that's not the case for everybody. In the more populated areas, people are having to be more careful. Of course, that makes sense. The risks are a lot higher for us country bumpkins out here. it's not as big a deal for us. So I do understand the dynamic there. But still, there's ways you can find that community online, phone calls, Skype, Zoom, whatever you like. Watching these YouTube shows and getting involved in communities like My Car Shop, Vice Grip Garage community, Restored, Iron Trap, whatever it is. You hear me talk about these shows, Nick's Garage, Dylan McCool, all these guys that are into these projects. There's a community surrounding those. There's people that are into that. And so getting involved in those things is important as well. So that's the mindset. The next thing that I've learned is break it down into systems. Once you have the car done, for example, on the Challenger, the fabrication, getting that chassis back together, then the next step is the body work, right? Getting all the sheet metal hung and the panels repaired and replaced or whatever needs to be done. Once we start assembling a car, it's really easy to be overwhelmed there too. Break it down into systems. Think about your powertrain. Think about your braking system. Think about your fuel system. Think about your electrical system, right? So if you break it down into systems, fuel system, for example, get your fuel tank, get your fuel lines, get those fuel lines run, get the fuel tank in place. Now your fuel system's done and you don't need to touch it again. I usually do the electrical close to the end, but it's the same thing. Leave the interior till later. You don't want to do that till you're done with the project. Then you can put your nice interior pieces in. You know, you don't have to have an interior done to drive a car. I think every car I've ever done, I didn't have the interior finished right away. It took me sometimes years to get it done, but I was out enjoying that car, because at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, you're going to lose interest in it. Drove my Model A for a year or two before I even upholstered the seats. We threw blankets over the old ratty seats and we drove it. Didn't have any door panels on it. As a matter of fact, I think for a while I drove it without some of the side windows in it. I did the same thing on the GTS. You know, I didn't necessarily have the interior in that car. I had some old maroon seats in it, bucket seats that I just bolted in so I could enjoy it. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about enjoying these cars. It's about driving them. It's not about them being perfect. They're a process, not a destination. So I've rattled on and on and on, but I just want to encourage you, give you some, hopefully spur some enthusiasm, get a little adrenaline going. It's doable. You just got to keep your mind around it, keep the right mindset, keep encouraging yourself, keep feeding yourself, keep the adrenaline going, keep the excitement going. Find ways to do that for yourself. Break it down into bite-sized pieces. Make it fun. You'll get it done. All right, that's going to do it for today. Somewhat like an old preacher, I guess, because I am one, so I go on and on and on. But I am obviously enthusiastic and excited about this. I know this episode isn't for everybody. These are for maybe for some of the more diehards, but it's something I can put out right now while I'm not able to work. So thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. When you do, hit the bell so you receive notifications. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. Facebook.com/mycarshop, Instagram.com/mycarshop. We have a lot of stuff we're putting out, a lot of things we're continuing to do. And if there are subjects you would like me to discuss like this, drop them down there in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. I've been doing this a long time. I've got a lot of experience, and I've got a lot of opinions, and I'm happy to share them if you want to hear them. So, hey, thanks for watching, and as always, remember one more thing. Rock on.